Hi guys, so for today's video, I am joined by my husband, Sean,
Hola.
off screen, and he is going to be reading to me all of your unpopular Mistborn opinions. For those that don't know, Mistborn is my favorite trilogy of all time, and I occasionally like to hear you guys trash the things that I love. I have not looked at these ahead of time. Sean is going to read them off to me. He's looking for the juiciest ones, the ones that are potentially the most upsetting to me. So we're just going to jump right into it.
Start off spicy
Okay.
with a onslaught of things you disagree with. A
Oh,
common theme.
okay.
So I'm going to read a few. So
Are
don't
these
say anything.
are these spoilers?
No.
Okay.
Vin is so annoying. Wait. I'm not very connected to Vin as a main character. The plot is more exciting than she is. Oh, Vin is not very likable.
How dare you? Finn's personality in book 1 is that she's paranoid.
Vin isn't really a great character.
Okay, now you've taken it too far. I don't disagree that she's not the most exciting in book 1. Or I don't know if she's an exciting character. She's not super charismatic. You've read them. Would you say that's true?
I'm not her biggest fan.
Ugh,
Yeah.
this hurts me. This hurts me deeply.
I don't think I ever really got it as far as like the Vin love.
I didn't know you were going to be giving your unpopular Mistborn opinions.
Sorry.
I love Vin. I feel like a lot of what Vin goes through, I relate to very heavily, even though I know when I say that, and I always add this little extra thing, it wouldn't seem so because I seem like cheery and happy, and she very much doesn't. But I feel like her arc and the things that she goes through and a lot of what she is struggling with mentally, I can relate to, not the literal things she goes through. I have never witnessed the atrocities that she has witnessed, but there's a lot to her that I relate to very much. And so I feel very connected to her. I feel like she definitely has personality, but her personality is like, I'm trying to come out of being traumatized. She's not extremely charismatic. She's not super funny. She's not really witty, but I totally love her. Okay, bring on something that's, I guess that was what we were wanting. We were wanting the painful stuff.
So there's a theme of it's boring.
Oh.
It's bad.
It's bad?
It's bad.
What about it is bad? The writing, the characters,
It
just
was
all of it?
boring. In parentheses, sorry. So they at least apologize.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. You know what?
More boring.
So when I read the first book, I've said this quite a few times, I wasn't head over heels for that first book. I was bored at parts of it. And then when I went back and reread it, I was like, when did I ever think this was boring? Because I feel like it moves really fast. But the first time I read it, I didn't feel that way. So I can see where it wouldn't be a page turner for a lot of people. It's long, too. I feel like the page count isn't that long, but the word count's not small. So I think it's longer than it seems. But I can see it. There's a lot of action, but there's also a lot of going to the balls and trying to glean information from people.
Our good friend Jashana says, boring as fudge cakes, action and fight scenes. I edited it for
Oh, thank you for the edits.
the viewers.
And also thanks, Jashana.
A similar one is, book 2 is boring as fudge cakes.
Was that also from Jashana?
No, that's a different person.
Oh, okay. Well, book 2 is super political. So if you're not into that, although there are some people that are into it and they still feel like it's boring. So I thought book 2 was great, but I'm all about those little moments of, okay, everybody, an assembly's come together and you think the vote is going to go one way and it doesn't. And then you're like, what, but how? I really like those moments. I think they're so suspenseful. So I like them.
You mentioned the ballroom scenes a little bit ago. Someone says the ballroom scenes were all whack. So what do you think of that? What did you think about the ballroom scenes?
They're not for everybody. That's where, like, the romance builds.
That's true.
Yeah.
Someone says the dialogue in the first book was kind of stiff and the characters were a little tropey.
That's true. I think I agree with that, actually. I think they are a little tropey because you have, like, well, this one's the funny one and this one's the grumpy one. This one's, like, the peaceful, nice one. So, yeah, I agree with that. I think on reread, I felt differently because I got to know them throughout the series, and then so when you go back and you see them from the beginning, you feel like you already know them. But the first time, if you had asked me which one's which, I would have been like, I don't know.
Poorly written, just has a great magic system.
So here's my take on that. I don't think that Sanderson's writing is worse than a lot of other fantasy writers. I think there are writers who take more time to make the writing itself really beautiful. I think Josiah Bancroft is a great writer. I think Laini Taylor's a great writer. I think Tessa Gratton wrote very well. But, I mean, I think it's... I don't even want to say serviceable because that even sounds insulting. I just think it's pretty straightforward. But I wouldn't say, to me, I've seen negative reviews say that a middle schooler could have written it or a child could have written it, and I don't agree with that. I just think that if you had that magic system and those characters and that setup, that world, and you had a very poetic writing style on top of it, I think I would just end up being confused a lot of times. I would be like, I don't know what's happening. Did they literally just jump off a building, or is this a metaphor? My husband is like scratching his beard because he loves the fancy writing. So what's your take on that one?
It's fine.
We've discussed this before.
Yeah, it's not like bad. I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
I just think it's straightforward.
I think it's storytelling.
Yes, that we've had conversations about this, he and I. And you would say you don't really know, and you actually think it's better than some of the other ones that you don't think people pick on those as much as they pick on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's our feelings.
So a common theme, this is actually the same person replying multiple times.
Okay.
Stormlight archive magic system is better in every way, and the best thing about Mistborn is plot, not magic. And their second comment is Allomancy is really just so-so.
I disagree with that one. Although I can see why you would feel that way. I think the magic in Stormlight feels more magical, especially because it's somewhat unfamiliar to the characters. So they're sort of discovering it or rediscovering it in a sense. Whereas in Mistborn, it's almost like a science or a skill. And it doesn't feel very magical. I like it better because I think that Stormlight's magic, the further in you get, the more intense and large it gets in scope. So I think after a while, Mistborn, I felt like I understood what was going on with the magic. And then with Stormlight, at some point, I'm kind of like, okay, whatever you say. I'm sure you've thought this through. That's kind of how I feel about that one. So, and then you read the first 3 Stormlight books. What do you think?
Magic-wise compared to...
Mistborn or Stormlight? Which magic do you like better?
I have no idea what's going on in Stormlight Archive.
Okay.
It's like magic swords, magic zipping around.
Different magic swords.
And a different kind of zipping around
right.
than in Mistborn.
Mm-hmm.
Cool armor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mistborn is a little bit more.
I hope whoever's in trouble is okay.
So I think I like Stormlight Archive more, but I've seen a few people say that like we get it, we get the rules of Allomancy, you don't tell us for the 1000th time. I was the person who needed the reminder. I was like, what does that do again? If you drink zinc and a mixture of copper and magnesium.
Stop. He's trolling.
Someone on a related note says, if the magic system can/has to be explained, it's not magic, it's science in a fantasy world.
Sure. I don't disagree with that necessarily. It's just like that's a thing that's possible. So
now here's one that you might need to prepare yourself for.
Okay.
Tindall Was Annoying.
How dare you? She is a hero. She is the hero of that middle book. So.
I thought she was fine.
You liked Tindall.
I do like Tindall.
Yeah. It sounds like I'm telling you. No, you liked her.
This person says Kelsier is an overrated edgelord.
Ha. You know, I think that my feelings towards Kelsier are, and I'm not saying I don't know who this person is, so, and you don't have to say, Sean, but I feel that in the Cosmere, Kelsier is not as talked about as a lot of other characters. So I think my perception of Kelsier is different than maybe somebody who has only read Mistborn. Because if you've read Mistborn, you're like, oh my gosh, Kelsier, I love Kelsier. I just don't think Kelsier is discussed as much. So in my mind, I don't even think he's overrated because I feel like we talk about other characters way more. And then I'm like, oh yeah, Kelsier. And then I kind of have to remember him sometimes. But for just Mistborn, I liked Kelsier. He was not... I wasn't totally, absolutely in love with him, though. But I did enjoy him as a character.
This is an interesting one. Sanderson uses a lot of words in capital letters, which is kind of annoying if you start paying attention. Never noticed that. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. There's a lot of
kind of things does he
italics. In the first one, I'm guessing the Inquisitors, like the Steel Inquisition, I think is capitalized. I don't remember all of them, but I definitely know a lot of things are italicized. But then things are capitalized in all of his books. It doesn't bother me just because I feel like I expect that in fantasy. I expect the words to have some kind of indication like these are special fantasy words. But I can see if you're somebody who gets frustrated by the bells and whistles within writing, so a lot of italics, a lot of em dashes, a lot of ellipses, a lot of capitalization, then yeah, I can see why it would bother you.
I have two here that I find interesting that I might give commentary on.
Okay.
Great storyline, completely forgettable characters. It's just Vin and the others. I have to kind of agree. I mean, like Breeze. I don't even know who Breeze is.
My good man.
Name another one.
Ham.
Yeah.
Sazed.
Ham. Is he like strong or something with a vest? Like, that's all I can really like. They're kind of just insert, you know.
What's great is as you said insert, your hand like flashed onto the screen.
Insert like, I don't know.
Tropes.
Yeah.
Kind of what the other person was saying.
And then there's another one, and I kind of agree with this one as well. The Khandra are just kind of meh. Their story was never one that gripped me. Interesting.
A lot of people love that plot line that comes up. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. Were you gonna? You said you were gonna give commentary.
I mean, it was. I wasn't exactly my thing. I thought it's kind of just like, oh, another thing to read about.
I didn't hate it, but I don't think I was as emotionally invested in that plot line. And I think that's partially because I was far more emotionally invested in the people I had been with for the longest. And you are not with them for as long. So, but it was interesting. I think the interest in their plot line is similar to those individuals who like the second book in his Skyward series, Starsight. Starsight is so much like, look at how unique and interesting this is. Look at how creative I am. And that's fascinating to some people. And it is fascinating, but I just don't care about it as much as some of the other things that are going on. So I can see that one.
Here's a really controversial one.
Okay. Really controversial with me or just
with you? With maybe the fandom too.
Okay.
Ahem.
Is that in theirs or did you? Okay.
The Final Empire is probably the best fantasy book I've read. The sequels are bad, mainly the second.
I think I actually just did a video talking about series that could have been standalones, and while I love the continuation of the Mistborn series, I actually already talked about that quite a bit, where I can see why some people would like the first one and just have it stand on its own. I think depends on what you like in fantasy too, because the second one is so different from the first one, and then the third one is very doom and gloom. So it's less hopeful, I think. Where that first one, you're like, they can do it. The good guys can topple this evil empire. That's kind of what the first one feels like, and it's fun to watch this ragtag team try to conquer the impossible. So I can see why you would feel that way, but I do love the next ones.
On the flip side, your friend Petrick
Patrick
says, no idea whether this is unpopular or not, but Well of Ascension is an amazing book.
Oh, so right after. That's funny. I love it. And when I reread them, I think I had the most fun with the second one. So, yeah, I very much enjoyed. The third one, I was just like, oh no, I don't want to reread this one. And the first one, I was surprised. I liked it a lot more than I was expecting. But yeah, that second one is very fun. Patrick's dog just had a birthday. It's very cute. His doggy's very cute.
There's one I want to read that I don't think is a spoiler. It's just your reaction. You would not be able to explain your anger.
Okay.
So I'll read it, and if you think it's spoilery, you can cut it out. But I don't think it is.
Okay.
The ending was a cop-out by Sanderson.
Oh, no, I don't agree with that in the slightest. But, I mean, how is it a cop-out? How is it a cop-out? I don't know how it's a cop-out. I'm not angry. I'm not angry at the person who feels this way, but I wasn't.
Are you trying to silence somebody?
Censorship. Yeah. Censoring is freedom of speech. I just don't agree. I would love if you are the person who left that, if you don't mind leaving a comment and just say like, I'm the person who said that one. Here are my thoughts, and then press enter a lot, and then you can go into, but please press enter a lot so that nobody gets spoiled. But, and that's for everybody who's watching who wants to mention spoilers. Don't mention spoilers without pressing enter a lot, because some people have been spoiled for some pretty important things in this series just by clicking on a video and then there's a spoiler in the comments. So you guys know how spoilers work. But anyway, how is it a cop-out? Feel free to explain yourself. I'm not actually upset. I just am curious. An elaboration on that would be lovely. But anyway, thank you to my husband, Sean. He is tired. It's basically his bedtime. So I appreciate him taking the time to do this video with me. Thank you everybody who submitted their unpopular Mistborn opinions. I thought they would be, I was scared. I was thinking I would be more upset. But I think I have heard a lot of the unpopular thoughts, and after a while I'm just like, yeah, okay. That's what you think, I guess. We can agree to disagree. But anyway, thank you everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you would like more Sanderson content, Mistborn content, all that fun stuff, I'll have it linked. But thank you, and I'll see you all later. Bye.